right, hopefully everybody can see me. So, hi everyone, I'm Janice Russell. I'm really glad you're here today. I'm so excited to talk about this topic. This is something that usually doesn't get addressed in the leadership world or even in your everyday world. This is a super important topic to discuss and become comfortable with. So, we talk all the time about managing stress, staying calm, or supporting others, but what about leading ourselves? So, leadership really starts inside, internally, with how we guide our thoughts, our emotions, and our presence, especially when things get really hard or we become very stressed or overwhelmed. So, today isn't about more strategies or to-do lists. It's more about tuning into your nervous system and understanding how your body and your brain create this clarity for you and creates confidence and a calm from the inside out. So they already gave you my bio. So, but what you really just need to know is I've spent years studying presence and how it changes everything. I've been in the classroom as a teacher. I've taught first through fifth grades. I've been out in the corporate world working with C-suite executives and creating programs for them, and as well as the frontline staff members. I work with teachers a lot. I have my own business where I have created professional developments for teachers. So I work with teachers quite a bit on this and how to carry this into the classroom for their students. And I am also an author. So I've written a children's book, My Wings to Grow, which is basically centered around building self-confidence in children. And it's about a little bird named Willow, and it addresses social emotional learning. So it's really cool to see when teachers send me pictures of them reading my book to their class. It's very exciting for me. But um, but I am very excited to be here with you today. And again, I've spent years studying the brain and behaviors and just that self-presence and carrying yourself into a room. And so you're about to experience why this is so important. So rather than talk about this, I want you to feel it. So we're going to start here. So I'm going to ask you to go ahead and get comfortable in your seat if you're sitting. And if you're standing, go ahead and get comfortable there. That's just my bio that I just talked you through. Um, but before we talk science, again, we're going to sit here and we're going to feel it for a minute. So as long as you're comfortable, and actually, you know what? I'm thinking I can't see you all. So let me see how I can get you all up here on my screen.
Do you see just you next to your presentation now?
I actually only see you.
Really?
Yeah. So let's see. Um,
I think it shows who's ever speaking.
yeah, but I would like to see everybody. Let's see.
How about now?
No, and I'm actually not even, let's see.
Because you have to go up to view.
I'm looking for view. Yeah, and I'm not
It's up top,
seeing it. Oh, there it is. Okay. Sorry, everybody.
and then there's like side by side speaker with a
The
presentation.
gallery. There we go. Now I see everybody.
There we go.
Sorry. I've got like three screens going here because I have so many things open. um, go
Just to let
ahead.
everybody know, save your questions until afterwards, or you can write them into chat. We'll keep track of them. Okay.
All right. And just real quick, I do have a workbook I want to share with you. Just if you want to have it, open, you can follow along in the workbook. Let's see, my computer. So I'm going to share that in the chat with you real quick so you can download it. And just keep it handy or look at it later. There's a lot of reflection questions in there for you as we walk through this or to revisit again later. All
Make
right.
sure you send it to everyone. Sometimes it tricks you into sending it to just one person.
It says everyone. So
Okay.
yeah, give me a
I
thumbs
don't
up.
I don't see it yet.
You
It
don't see it?
must be still
Let's see.
loading.
How's that? Oh, no,
Is it?
it's still loading.
Okay.
Sorry. All right, so I'm going to let that load for a little bit. I'm just going to go ahead and keep going due to a time. So again, go ahead and sit comfortable. in your chair. So now what I want you to do is I want you to let your posture in your chair collapse just a bit. So curve your spine forward. Good day. Shoulders slouched. Kind of just hang your head down if you want to lean on your desk like this a little bit. And rest your elbows on the table, whatever feels like you just like kind of slumped over a little bit. So as you're in this position, I want you to imagine a scenario that sometimes can throw you off. Maybe it's a tough conversation that you have had or need to have in the future. Perhaps it's a disappointing email that you get, some type of moment of tension. Maybe it's an executive meeting that you've been in before, where you're prepared, but then somebody challenges you in the meeting and questions you. Okay, so in this position, just imagine somebody challenging you and questioning you. Um, and I want you to really just feel that in your body. It says my file could not be sent. Hmm. All right. So I'm going to keep
It
trying
must
that.
be
So,
because the file's open, maybe.
oh, you know what? That could be. Let's see here. Just close these all. There we go. All right. So hopefully it'll go this time. All right. So just imagine in this situation where you're just very tense and stressed, and somebody challenges you, and you're and it's a question of just questioning the things that you're saying, or they're not in alignment with you. What is your where are you feeling that in your body? Go ahead and put that in your chat. When you're really stressed out or in a situation where somebody's challenging you, where are you feeling that in your body? And sometimes I feel it in my shoulders. My shoulders get super tight or my stomach gets sick. Go ahead and put it in the chats. So I'm going to work mostly from the chat rather than calling on people. I'm not seeing anybody. All right. So just pay attention to really where you're feeling that in your body. And then now I want you to think about, as they're challenging you, what happens in your brain? Like, what's your brain telling you as if you walk into a situation like this? I am not getting any any responses, and that's okay. But I know when I'm in a situation like this and somebody's always challenging me, I start questioning myself. Did I give enough information? Is my information correct? Am I enough? Am I answering or presenting in a way that really relates to people? Sometimes I get defensive, sometimes I'm embarrassed, sometimes I get that inner dialogue of irritation. And I just want you to really pay attention to what's happening in that. Okay, so now I want you to do is slowly shift your body. I want you to take a nice, full, slow breath in and let it go, release, and sit up nice and tall. Straighten up your shoulders, open up your chest, put your chin up a little bit, and sit nice and tall. Okay, kind of shake it out a little bit. So just think about that same situation and that same tension that you've just presented in front of a group, or somebody has just challenged you. Think about if there's any change in your body and how you're feeling, or what words might appear in your mind this time. Oh, there we go. So I'm more of a pessimist before it happens what I wish in the next future. Yes. I can sometimes do that. I know our brains tend to create scenarios of things that haven't happened yet or might not happen, but we like to predict that this might happen, and then we like to worry about it. So as we sit up nice and tall, realize the shift that you not only feel in your body, but kind of in your brain. Okay. What this shift is not physiological. This is more, it's not emotional, it's more neurological. So your posture signals to your nervous system whether you are safe or whether you're under, excuse me, under threat. So every choice that you come across, every conversation, every decision you make runs through this filter in your body first. Okay. So when stress hits your amygdala, which is the center part of your brain, your muscles tend to tighten, your shoulders tend to go up. I can't tell you how many times I realize my shoulders are up here. And then when I do this work, I'm like, oh wow, like look how far my shoulders came down. And then what happens is when you're under fire like this and your amygdala is firing off that you're under threat, your thinking brain, which is the front prefrontal cortex, goes offline. And then when you shift your physiology and you re-engage that prefrontal cortex, your center for logic, for reasoning, for empathy, for clarity, um, comes back online. So the question is, that's okay. So the question is, what story are you telling your brain with your body right now? So when life gets loud, you can be kind of a leaf in the wind, kind of blowing around, or are you the lighthouse in the storm, showing the way for everybody else? So resilience doesn't really start with pushing harder. It begins with how you meet yourself in the moment, how you bring yourself into state, closing all the windows in your brain and bringing yourself really present. So the shift that you felt, well, hopefully felt just now, that's the foundation of everything we're going to explore today. So you didn't need a new strategy, you didn't need a mantra, you didn't need an affirmation or even a spreadsheet to change how you feel, just awareness and that posture begins to change everything in your outward realm. So you're literally rewiring your state within seconds. And so this is how powerful your nervous system can be. And again, this is exactly what the session is about, learning how to work with your body and brain and not necessarily working against them, which in so many cases we do. So this is what we just did. So your inner state drives your outer results. So again, you just experienced how fast your state can shift. So this is the foundation that we're going to be moving forward. So now that you felt it, let's move out and see where we're headed today. So first, we're going to look at what actually happens in your brain and body when stress shows up and why clarity disappears and emotions take over. So then we're going to practice a few ways to shift that state intentionally because you can't make clear decisions from a flooded nervous system. So next, I'm going to walk you through a simple framework you can use anytime to reset and realign. And it's what I call a grounded decision loop. So we're going to go over that in a few minutes. So and then we'll close at the end with a small micro practice that you can start using today, and something so small and it's so easy to do, but it's powerful enough to rewire your patterns over time. So it doesn't happen just instantly, but the more you practice this, the more it just becomes natural because you're making a new neural pathway. So this isn't about being perfect. This isn't about being polished. It's more about learning how to come back to your center faster with less friction and more grace. So we're going to take a moment now. So if you have paper in front of you, just jot down a word or two in your notes or hold it in your mind because your nervous system listens to what you intend. When you have a focus or a light at the end of your pathway, you can stay more focused and stay in line rather than becoming scattered and going off the path and looking at the trees and the flowers and the bushes and everything like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to anchor that intention and we're going to keep going. So jot down what your intention is for today. So when it comes to your self-leadership, what are you hoping to feel more of today? And if you want to throw that in the chat, that would be great. So I can see where our brains are at today. And what are we hoping to feel more of when it comes to self-leadership? I know this is probably a title that you saw and was like, what is this? So what are you hoping for? Or you can even go to that next question. What are you looking to receive from class today? Because I want to make sure that I'm addressing all of those things as we go through.
Yeah, so
So,
everybody write your answers into the chat. Is that the
yeah.
idea?
Yes, please.
And just give a 1 word, 3 words,
Mm-hmm.
something brief and simple.
And with this core class, the more you interact, the more this is going to solidify with your brain. So it helps to either jot it down or again, throw it in the chat so we can have a conversation about it. And maybe you're looking for a reset, maybe just a reminder of some things that you already know. Okay, greatness. Oh, I love that.
This is a
confident.
new term.
Yeah.
Self-leadership is really a new term
Mm-hmm.
to try and understand and
Right.
feel
To
and
grasp
get a
it.
sense of.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There we go. Greatness,
Yep.
confidence.
Yep. Perfect. All right. So if you haven't put in the chat yet, that's okay. As long as you have something written down, fulfillment. I love that. Mutual understanding and respect. And love that. All right. All right. So whatever coming up for you, I want you to hold on to that word or that phrase as we continue through this course. Satisfied and peaceful. Oh, yes. I feel that. All right. A diploma and certificate. Yes. All right. I love it. So, because your nervous system listens to your intention, again, it orients around what you focus on. So, when we have these beliefs in our brains or an understanding of things that we want, and we really believe that we can have them, what your brain does is it looks for proof of that. So, when we have that intention and it's set, this is what we want to focus on, your brain will consistently scan your life for ways to prove it. So if you're thinking things like, I'm not good enough, your brain will scan for things that will confirm that of, the slightest little thing. If you're a kid in the classroom, oh, my teacher looked at me weird. Oh, I must not be doing a good job. So you're always going to be scanning for that. So just keep that in mind. So the more you focus on that confidence and success in that diploma, the more your brain will scan for things that will confirm that you will receive that. So if your focus today is peace, which I saw, or presence, or ease, I saw that too. Let's let that be the story that your brain starts to tell from this point forward. So what I want you to do is I want you to take one long deep breath, confident. Yes, now we got them coming in the chat. Take one long deep breath. We're going to breathe in through your nose for a count of 4. And then we're going to hold it for 4, and then we're going to release that out our mouth for a count of 8. Okay. And what this does is a real quick nervous system reset. So let's try that now because we're going to be doing this several times throughout the class today. So breathe in for 4, hold for 4, and out for 8. And I don't know about you, feel motivated. I love that. So I don't know about you, but I always feel my shoulders drop when that happens because I know I'm resetting my nervous system. So this moment that we've just done, this is where we pause, we reflect, we name what you want to feel. That's self-leadership in real time. So we shifted, excuse me, shifted from autopilot to awareness. It's from your subconscious running the show to your conscious mind taking that wheel and driving it where you want to go. So here's the fascinating part. That simple shift you just made, it is literally visible in our brain. And I'm going to talk about what the brain looks like in just a moment. So when stress hits, this is and why it feels so hard to stay calm or grounded or clear because your thinking is under a threat. So let's look at what that actually looks like. So we actually have three brains. We have one, but there's 3 brains within it. So we're going to look inside what actually happens to your brain during this posture exercise. So I like to picture the brain as a 3-floor house. Down on the first floor lives the survival brain. This is where it handles the safety, the basic needs, the instinct. Okay, it's fast, it's very quick, it's very protective, and it doesn't ask for permission to take over. So when danger shows up, whether it's real or it's imagined, so those worries that we have, those stories we create, the things that might happen, your first floor brain is going to kick in. Okay, and it just takes over everything. It begins to flood. The middle floor, this is the emotional brain. This is where the amygdala lives, the hippocampus lives there. It's where all of our emotions form. Okay, the memories are stored here, and the constant question runs on loop. Am I safe? Okay, so when you're at this middle level, is checking if you're safe. If you feel safe, your brain thinks you're safe, you're going to move to that third floor. If they see any type of threat, it's going to move back down to that survival brain on the first floor, and it's going to flood. So on this floor, it gets flooded. Everything feels personal, it feels intense, and it feels so much bigger than it actually is. And at the top of the house, This is where we have our thinking brain. This is the prefrontal cortex, the front of your brain. Again, this is where you have your logical thinking, your reasoning, your learning part of your brain. This is the floor where logic and empathy, any type of reflective practices can take place, or even self-control. This is where this all lives. um, but here's the catch. So when that lower floor, it begins to get flooded, the top floor puts up a gate or closed because it doesn't want the water flowing up there. So imagine yourself in a kitchen trying to cook dinner and your kitchen is on fire. How good is your dinner going to be? How good are you going to be able, how well are you going to be able to cook if your whole kitchen is on fire? Okay, you can't plan, you can't reflect on things, you can't connect when your nervous system is sounding this alarm of, oh my gosh, everything is on fire around me. This plans, please, yes. I am trying to share it, and if not, I will make sure that it's emailed out to you after the presentation. And I'm so sorry. And then you can go back and reflect because everything we're doing here is in there. And then there's some great reflective questions in there for you as well. So I apologize for it not loading. I'm not sure why it's not. Oh, good. You're going to learn new things from this class. I love that. All right. So when you're triggered by stress or conflict, inconsistency, or something as simple as a broken pattern, because our brain loves patterns, loves consistency, loves being able to predict what's going to happen. But when that's broken, your brain rushes downstairs to that survival mode and locks the door to the upstairs floors. Okay. So before we can actually address anything, we must shift our nervous system first. We must regulate before we can actually reason, and we must provide safety before we can put any strategies in place. So once the body feels safe, the brain can climb back up the stairs and we can have more clarity, more confidence, and this is where the connection lives. You're welcome. But even when your nervous system isn't on full alarm mode, there's another layer of our brain actually running the show. The one that we rarely talk about, and many of us have heard about this, but many of us aren't even not even aware that this is running the show behind the scenes. Okay, this is the part of the brain that makes the decisions for you before you even realize it. And this is the subconscious. And I call it the hidden CEO. It's the one that quietly steers the ship underneath everything. So let's talk about what this hidden CEO is. So above all the layers of the brain function, there's a CEO that quietly runs the show. And most of the time, again, you don't even know it's there. This is your subconscious. This runs roughly 95% of your actions, your reactions, and your decisions. And we don't even realize it's happening. And we like to think it doesn't, but it actually really does. And this is not something in your brain that's trying to sabotage you. It's more for efficiency. So your brain is designed to save energy by automating patterns for your life. Okay, it learns what's predictable and it repeats it, whether it's your posture, your tone, your beliefs, or even your emotional reactions that you have. Your subconscious is running that. And this is formed by the age of 12. So once 12 hits, that's all set in. And then you have to do, if you want to change all of that, you have to do a lot of rewiring, reprogramming of your brain. And it's possible. But the majority of our population are a bunch of 12-year-olds walking around. So, and once you learn that and once you know how to see it, you can't unsee it. So when I go out all the time, I see people and I'm like, oh, yep, I know what's going on there. So these patterns don't always serve you or don't always serve who you are now because we've changed so much since we were 12, but we're still running that same old program. So, and these, especially if they were built in fear or on their urgency or pressure, they can quietly hijack your choices before logic even has a chance to show up. So that's why you can know what you want to do, yet still find yourself reacting in a way, or maybe you're a people pleaser, or sometimes you just freeze up and don't even know what to say, or your brain begins to spiral. This is what's actually happening. This is not a willpower problem. This is a wiring pattern that we've had since 12. So the good news again is that you can rewire this. And the key is to learn to interrupt that pattern, not through force, but begin becoming more aware and catching these patterns that your subconscious is throwing out. Excuse me. And it helps too with a lot of movement or breath work, which we're going to do today. So every time you interrupt that pattern and choose presence instead of autopilot, you're teaching that hidden CEO a new way to lead. You're making new neural pathways in your brain. So we're going to try this right now. We're going to see how fast we can retrain that internal leader, not with theory, but through a simple exercise that connects body, breath, and belief. So let's do this together. So we're going to rewire this loop a little bit and see what happens. So I would like you to go ahead and close your eyes, make yourself comfortable. And I want you to bring something into your mind that sits heavy on you. Maybe it's a challenge that's coming up. Maybe it's that diploma you're trying to get. Maybe it's a deadline that you need to hit, or a conversation that you need to have that you're dreading. Or maybe it's that story on repeat that you're not enough for somebody, or you're obsessing over something and you just can't seem to let it go. And as you're really thinking about this event or situation or thought process that you would like to rewire, oh, today you're busy. Yep. Maybe you have a lot to going on. Notice where that stress is living in your body. Again, is it in your chest? Maybe you feel it, your throat's getting tight. Maybe it's in your shoulders. Maybe your stomach feels sick. Yeah, stress. So notice where that stress is living in your body. Okay, with your eyes closed now, I want you to imagine that feeling as an abstract image in your head. There's no need to force it, just see what happens, what type of image or visualization you can see in your brain. Notice the colors, notice the shape of it. Maybe notice what texture represents that feeling for you. Okay, now we're done with that. So now what I want you to do is I would like you to take a slow, deep breath in through your nose again. So listen to directions before we actually do this. We're going to take a slow, deep breath for 4. We're going to hold it for 4. And then we're going to exhale for 8. But this time we're going to do something a little different. When we exhale, I want you to imagine all that stress that's in your body. I want you to visualize it tied to an arrow. So when we release that air and for 8, we're going to visualize this arrow flying way, way out into the distance until we can't see it anymore. And it's going to carry away all that stress. I tend to visualize it as like a smoky sack tied to an arrow, but whatever visualization is for you. And as we release that arrow, I want you to think the word release. Okay. Yeah, it is a good way to lead oneself. All right, so soften your shoulders, lengthen your spine, tell your body quietly that you're safe. And now we're going to do this. Ready? So close your eyes, in for 4. Hold it for 4. Visualize it being all tied to that arrow. And then release for 8. And see that arrow carrying all that stress away, way, way out into the distance until it's completely gone, free and clear. Okay, we're going to do that one more time. In for 4. Hold for 4. Visualize everything that's left being tied to that arrow. And breathe out for 8. Think the word release. And that arrow is carried out into the distance, way, way out until it's totally gone, free, clear. Okay, now we're done with that. All right, next thing we're going to do is I want you to imagine whatever is happening in your brain, whatever scenario that was, the stressor, the busy day, that meeting that's coming up, or that repeating pattern of thought process. I want you to imagine the opposite of that now. Okay, your day goes so good, everything just falls into place for you. If you have a meeting coming up that you're stressed about, imagine that meeting going beautifully. You know exactly what to say. Everybody is just loving, hanging on every word that you're saying. Okay, whatever it is, the opposite of the original scenario. Okay, and I want you to notice how that feels in your body. What does that success feel like? That calm, or maybe it's a resolution. What does that feel like? Somebody's trying to take a look at my computer. Give me 1 second here. All right, notice where that's feeling in your body. Okay, now what I want you to do is I want you to give that feeling a color, whatever comes to your mind first. Maybe it's blue, maybe it's pink, maybe it's something sparkly, maybe it's a rainbow. Now I want you to give that new feeling a scent, something that usually grounds you. My favorite is the fall candle. I love fall candles. Maybe it's the smell of rain or fresh laundry. Maybe it's ocean air. Maybe it's coffee. Okay, anything that makes you feel good when you smell it. Okay, finally, I want you to identify that new feeling with an animal or a mythical creature. Citrus. Oh, I love the smell of citrus. Yes. Maybe it's an animal or mythical creature that embodies that feeling. Maybe it's a lion for strength. Maybe it's a hummingbird for lightness. Maybe it's a phoenix for renewal. Whatever resonates with you. Okay, so keep that color, that scent, and that animal in your mind now. And now what we're going to do is we're going to do the breath work again, but we're going to do it in a different way. First one is we're going to breathe that color in for 4, hold it for 4, and exhale for 8. Again, imagine that arrow flying into the distance and think the word release. Okay, so we're going to close our eyes now. We're going to breathe in for 4. Breathe in that color. Let it fill your whole body. Hold it for 4. Oh, you're just radiating this color. And now I want you to release for 8. Visualize that arrow flying way, way out into the distance, free and clear until it's gone. Thinking the word release. Okay, now we're going to breathe in that scent and let that scent fill your whole body. And then we're going to hold it for 4, and then we're going to release again. So in for 4, breathe in that scent. Hold that scent in, and then release that arrow way, way out into the distance, free and clear. Okay, excuse me, last breath work we're going to do, well, not the last one, but we're going to breathe in the animal. Breathe that animal in. You can feel that animal, the strength, the power, the lightness, the calm, whatever it is that it brings you. And then exhale, arrow goes out into the distance. Think the word release. All right. Last one here. We're going to breathe the color, the scent, and the animal in all at once. Let it take over your whole body. Feel it, breathe it, smell it, see it. Breathe in for 4. We're doing everything all at once. And exhale, release. Arrow goes way out into the distance, thinking the word release. All right, now what I want you to do is think about that original scenario, that stressor, that busy day, the meeting, whatever it is. Can you bring the feeling back in your body? Is there any change in how you feel now? And then what I want you to do is I want you to close your eyes and try to visualize that abstract picture that we originally had. How has it changed? Go ahead and throw it in the chat if that's changed for you. All right. I'll wait for you guys to go ahead and throw that in. But what's happening is visualization is not fluff. What it really is it's a rehearsal for your brain. Okay, it's practicing success for your nervous system. Our brain cannot tell the difference between what we visualize and what's actually real. So when people are like, oh, just close your eyes and imagine you're at the beach, your brain is actually thinking it's at the beach, which is why it brings calm to your nervous system. It can't tell the difference. So the more we can visualize the success from stressful to calm, that's awesome, Adams. Yes, I love that. But the more we practice this, the more your nervous system can reset itself and handle situations in a better way. So you have now told your hidden CEO that calm, clarity, and confidence are possible now. Angelica, peaceful, awesome. So every time you do this, again, your brain is strengthening that neural pathway. So if you think about when you go hiking and you go on a path, everything's cleared out. But if you go off the path, it's all covered in weeds and everything else. But the more you take that off path, the clearer that path becomes, and then the old path becomes overgrown. So what we're doing is we're creating new neural pathways, relaxation. Awesome. Okay, so you're literally training yourself to lead from safety instead of survival. So let's talk about what happened inside your system, how you can repeat it anytime you need to think clearly under pressure. So this is the grounded decision framework loop. So every clear decision moves through 4 checkpoints. And when you reset each one by one, you shift from reaction to intention. So the first checkpoint is your body. Okay, so when you're in a stressful situation, ask yourself first, am I safe? Okay, this is the foundation of everything. Okay, your body has now entered into fight or flight mode or freeze. Your brain is not able to access logic or empathy. It'll just protect you for survival. The second checkpoint is your brain. Am I focused or am I flooded? What floor of the house am I on? Okay, this is your prefrontal cortex coming back online, the ability to think, to plan, and connect. So when you breathe and you do that breath work, you change your posture, you're grounding and you open the door here. Just checking where we are. Okay. So the third checkpoint is belief. So what story am I actually telling myself? Is it rooted in fear? The majority of this, when we get stressed out, is all rooted in fear. Are they going to judge me? Am I going to mess up? Okay. And you need to ask yourself, am I in grounded truth? Am I capable? Am I calm or clear? And begin thinking of proof for that. What have you done in your past that proves that you're enough or that you're successful? Okay, and then your behavior is the last one. What action follows from this state? Because once the body is safe and the brain is clear, the beliefs become aligned and your behavior becomes intentional instead of reactive. And this is the emotional resilience. So when stress hits, most people skip straight to behavior and they react. They fire off. They try to fix things. They rush through things. Okay, but when you travel this loop consciously, body, brain, belief, behavior, you make decisions that are now calm, clear, and congruent. So take a moment. Which checkpoint tends to trip you up the most when you're under stress? And the more awareness that you bring here, the faster you're going to move through the loop the next time. Okay, this is the heart mindful self leadership loop because leadership is not just about controlling outcomes, it's about mastering that inner state. So clarity can guide your next move rather than reacting to everything. So now that we've seen how to make grounded decisions, let's look at what usually gets in the way. This is your trigger choice loop. So every time something stressful happens, a deadline, a conflict, unexpected comment, it sparks calm or reaction inside your nervous system before you even realize it. So first, there's always a trigger. Something happens that feels unsafe or unfair, or maybe it's unpredictable. And next comes the reaction to that. Your survival brain is going to jump in. Maybe your heart rate spikes, so your shoulders tense up, your breath begins to become shallow or shortened. And then comes that key moment is awareness. That split second when you notice, oh, I'm triggered again. Okay. That moment of awareness is the doorway out of that reactivity. It's where you choose to pause instead of react. This is your pattern interrupt. And then we can move to regulation, where you use your body, your breath, your grounding posture to signal safety to the nervous system. And then you regain a choice. Now you can become to control the situation and or not necessarily control the situation, but come at it with clarity. So once your body and brain reconnect, you can lead from intention rather than protection. So most people live from the first half of this loop, the trigger, reaction, repeat. But resilient leaders live in the second half, that awareness, the regulation, the choice. Your trigger is not the problem. Your lack of awareness is the problem. So the faster you notice those patterns and regulate your state, the faster your brain reopens access to empathy, logic, and creativity. Yes, thank you, Dr. Lambert. So that think of that a recent moment where you felt triggered. Maybe you were frustrated, maybe you were defensive, or you were in doubt. What did you notice about yourself in this loop? And what would it look like if you paused earlier next time to move from reaction to choice. And the beauty of this is every time you move from trigger to choice, you're strengthening that new pathway. So this is about emotional resilience becoming second nature, not by avoiding triggers, but by transforming your response to them, because you can't control the external world. You can only control what's happening within you. And here's something remarkable is your state doesn't just change you, it changes everyone around you. Your nervous system is contagious. When you walk into a room stressed or tense or rush, others people's systems begin to pick up that energy that you're putting off. Okay, and then their bodies mirror yours before the brain can even process it. So if you think about watching a football game on TV and they do span the crowd, majority of the time, everyone's sitting in a section together are all seated the same way. They're either lean forward, lean back, hand on the resting on their hand or head resting on their hands. Or if you're talking to somebody and their arms are crossed, you tend to want to cross your arms too. These are mirror neurons. But if you walk in grounded and calm, others are going to unconsciously borrow that regulation. And this is called biological empathy. This is the science of mirror neurons. These are specialized neurons that fire only when you act or feel something, or not only act when you feel something, but when you observe someone else doing it. So this is how we synchronize with each other. This is how safety spreads. And leaders don't just manage emotions, they model regulations. So that's what makes a good leader is when you walk in the room and you are regulated, you can regulate an entire room as well. So your state that you come in speaks louder than any words you could ever say. If you are in an unregulated state, people are not going to be able to take in what you're saying to them. So think about somebody that instantly calms you. This is the person that walks in the room and exhales. Okay, this is nervous system leadership, and you can train it. You can regulate yourself. This is physiological and the most underrated leadership skill that we have because we don't know how to access it. So let's pull it all together here, and we're going to carry this forward. So we didn't just learn about emotional resilience, we experienced it today. You felt posture shifts in your state. You saw how your brain travels through survival, emotion to logic, and it rewired a pattern through visualization. Okay, this is self-leadership in action. So take a moment to reflect on when stress hits, what part of that loop are you going to visit first? Will you start with your body, grounding and breathing? We can reset our nervous system in 90 seconds with breath work. In for 4, hold for 4, out for 8. Okay, and we would picture that word release. We're now visualizing, and it brings that calm. Your brain's refocusing before reacting, and you're rewiring your belief system, that subconscious that runs everything on autopilot. And then you can behave in a way where you're modeling calm so others can follow. So for this upcoming week, I would like to give you an aligned action. So as you go through the week now, I want you to notice when you become triggered. Instead of trying to fix the situation, pause. Okay, feel your feet on the ground. Do your breath work. What story am I telling? And how am I going to rewire that? Remember that visualization to your brain is real. Okay, it's actually happening. So the moment of awareness is your power move. Okay, this is going to help you become more unshakable. So as we close, I'm going to have a quick Q&A session here real quick. But leadership is not a position. Leadership is a presence. And whether that's in your family, your household, in your social world, in your work life, okay, that's leadership. The most powerful thing you can do for your team or your students or your family is to stay rooted when things feel uncertain, because your calm is going to give others permission to find their calm. So let's move into what questions you have.
All right. We have the first question coming in here from Ismail.
Okay. I'm not seeing it in my chat.
He has his hand up,
Oh, he has his hand up. Oh, there he is.
so
Okay.
he's going to ask his question.
All right.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
There we go.
Good
Yeah,
morning.
good morning, the presenter.
Good
Yeah, good
morning.
morning, everyone. Thank you for the presentation.
You're welcome.
It's awesome. Yeah.
Thank you.
Before I ask my question, I would like to recap the topic of the lesson,
Mhm.
emotional resilience
Yes.
and mindful self-leadership, as
Mhm.
today's lesson implies.
Mhm.
They are connected, or let me put it this way, they are interconnected with neuroscience and
Yes.
psychological perspective. So my
Mhm.
question is this: how can insights from psychology, neuroscience, and organizational behavior contribute to our understanding of emotional resilience and mindful self-leadership?
Okay, so I guess I'm not sure. I just want to recap the question. So yes, they are interconnected, but your question is how the
Yeah.
science of psychology ties into this?
Okay, let me repeat the question again.
Okay.
The question is this: how can insights from psychology, neuroscience, and organizational behavior contribute to our understanding of emotional resilience and mindful self-leadership?
Okay, so how can science, psychology, and organization contribute to emotional resilience?
Yes.
Okay.
And
So how it can contribute. So the more we learn about the science of our brain, which is very fascinating to me, and again, I've been looking into this for years since I've been in the classroom. The more we look into this, the more regulated that our society can become. And it's unfortunate that I feel that this is not put out there enough, and people are not trained on this. But the more we learn about the science of it, the more that we can do that, and that begins with, and that would lead into the psychology piece of it, is understanding the brain, understanding our emotions. And a lot of the times, the way that we react, again, is run by the self-conscious, but it also is run by fear. Okay, we have an outdated brain that is still back from when we were cavemen, and it's set for survival. That is the whole purpose of our brain, is to keep us alive. Okay, we are fortunate that we have that prefrontal cortex that does our thinking and our learning process. But the more that we can be in touch with and understanding the science and the psychology of why I am reacting the way I'm reacting, the more resilience that we can have, from that emotional damage, I guess that I can say, for lack of a better term. And then when we do understand that, then we can lead from a different place. We can lead from calm. When we can control ourselves and bring that awareness in, we can let that flow outward. So we're leading ourselves first, and then we can lead others. If we can't even lead ourselves, how are we going to lead other people? Did I answer your question?
perfect. Thank you. I'm
You're,
grateful.
you're
All right.
welcome.
Thank you for
Okay.
your question,
Thank you.
Ismail.
Yes, thank you.
And now we go to
Perfect.
Adams. Adams, go ahead. I don't see any questions in chat yet.
Okay.
And Ghana says, what is the difference between mind, feels, and emotion? Okay, so there's a question in chat.
Okay.
Thank you,
Adams,
madam. Yeah,
go
thank you,
ahead,
madam.
Adams.
Thank you, doctor. How are you?
Good.
Thank you.
How are
Yeah,
you today?
it's good to see you again. It's been a while. I'm good. My question is this. I I just want to ask madam, how can become contagious in mindful leadership? Or is how calmness become contagious in mindful leadership?
Okay, I'm not quite sure.
So how can we become contagious?
Oh, yes. I love that.
Yeah,
We
yes,
and
in mindful leadership, exactly, doctor.
yes, thank you. And we're contagious already. We really are. Do you ever so when I was a teacher in the classroom and I was carrying emotional weight of something that happened before I came in that day, and students do the same thing. But as I'm leading my students and I'm not in the right frame of mind and I'm carrying this weight, it was amazing what happened with those kids. I mean, they were off task, they couldn't focus, nothing would go right. They were restless because they could feel my state of mind. But the days that I'm walking in completely calm and confident and standing upright and shoulders back, you carry your presence differently. And then it becomes contagious around you. So, however, you're carrying your, physiologically, we are animals, basically. So we have that animal, that pack instinct. So when you are around your peers or your family or anyone, we have the mirror neurons. So we are mirroring who's supposed to be our leader, somebody that we could look up to. So if somebody is feeling off, we are contagious. If you are carrying yourself and being confident, always walk in the room, well, no matter how you're feeling, before you walk in a room, straighten yourself up, put your shoulders back, put your chin up, take some breath work, and feel yourself relax. And you walk into the room completely different. You are in a different state of mind. Okay, you are now present. You've now closed all those worry tabs in your brain. And just begin noticing the difference between how people react to you versus if you walk in a room like this and feeling that weight. When you carry a weight in a room, everybody else is going to feel it. And that's how you are contagious, because we just radiate a different state of presence. So if you look at people in your life, when they walk into a room, could be a leader, could be a family member, or whatever, but we all know somebody that when they walk in a room, everybody perks up. Okay, or everybody feels calm when they walk in. And vice versa. When somebody comes in, you're like, oh gosh, they just stress me out so bad. That's mirror neurons. That's how we become contagious. Hopefully did that answer your question, Adam? Did I lose us?
Oh, he can't unmute.
Oh, okay. Well, hopefully that answered his question.
Okay, Soon Tum,
Yeah, yeah. Thank
we
you,
got a few
madam.
minutes here.
That's answer my question. Thank you very much.
Keep your question fast. Okay, thank you, Adams.
Well done.
So
Well done. Well done.
Soon,
Thank you, Miss Ru. Thank you, Miss Lambert. I'm very happy to join us again today in this class.
Oh, good.
I would like to say one example. Some moments in our life is always we feeling very bad, always we feeling very well, without eating anything. I would like to ask which kind of the brain make for this happen in our life? If a neuron or synapses? If we feeling bad, we feeling well, imagine we just wake up in the bed. In some moments, we take a breakfast, and 4 minutes ago, next we feeling bad, without know
Mhm.
what happens. Can you tell me that to explain it to explain that?
So just to recap the question, so you said we imagine the scenario when we're feeling bad, and then we do the breath work, and then you said you go back to feeling bad.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I would like to explain the function of the neuron and the synapse specifically.
So what's happening there is your subconscious again is running the show. So we can, I don't want, for lack of a better term, I don't want to say trick it, but we have these subconscious limiting beliefs or subconscious beliefs which cause us to feel these things, right? And then when we do the breath work and the other visualization, we're showing our subconscious that this is safe for us. We're looking for proof to prove that, this new scenario, this new visualization is the truth. Okay. And then if you go back to feeling that bad feeling again, okay, that's your subconscious at work. And this happens to me quite a bit. And I've been doing this work for 6-8 years, specifically studying this. What happens is you feel good and everything's going well, and then your subconscious is like, hey, that's not for us. You're not allowed to feel good because this is what we know from the past. This is what we've experienced from the past. This is what we know. This is our pattern. I'm going to bring you back to it. So, and that's perfectly normal. So that's what's happening is your limiting beliefs or the beliefs that you have, your subconscious is saying these new feelings, this good stuff, that's not for me. That's not what we believe in. This is not what we've experienced in the past. This is a pattern. But the more you can bring that awareness to that of, oh my gosh, it just came back. Let me do the breath work again. It takes a while to start create that new neural pathway and for it to become more permanent.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And Janice, I'm realizing we're not going to have time probably to cover all of the questions that are popping up in chat
Okay,
and the hands raised.
right.
So can you go ahead and just put your email into chat right now?
Sure.
So then when everybody has their questions, they can send the email to you and you can answer them individually.
Yep, that works great. Make sure that's correct.
Because there are some really good questions coming up in chat.
I know, and I'm seeing them and I'm trying to.
Oh, here comes a good one. How can a female balance hormones with emotional intelligence? Ooh.
Oh, that is a good one. All right. How can a female balance hormones?
So Suntum, thank you for your question.
Yes. So that's an excellent question. With emotional intelligence, give a situation of being. So female hormones are tricky. And again, these are tied to the part of our brain that the amygdala specifically. So when we are going through our cycle, we tend to have that period of time where our amygdala begins to fire and sending all this cortisol and stress hormones and changes our moods and things like that. So what this goes back to again is the more that you become aware of, oh my gosh, this is really what's happening, rather than living in that feeling and being like, oh, the world is terrible. Oh, my life is terrible. Oh, I feel awful. Bring awareness to that. It's like, oh, this is a pattern that I have. Okay. So then you can begin to do the breath work and the visualization as well. We can't really take away the cramping pains with this, unfortunately, but we can get more control of how we're going to react. So it goes back to those steps. Let me bring that back up real quick. Is where you are here. Which part are you being stuck in? So the trigger is your hormones. Okay. You are going to react to that, but you want to become aware of what's happening. Then you can begin to do the regulation work. And now you realize you have a choice. I can continue to feel like this. I can continue to be mean to other people, because sometimes I know I've done that where it's like, oh my gosh, it's just overwhelming and I'm just mean to everybody. I don't want to do that. But now when I regulate, now I have a concrete begin opening up that prefrontal cortex, that top layer of the house, and actually presenting myself with a choice and being like, okay, I can either continue to do this, or I can choose to go by myself and do something that makes me feel good. So it's making those choices in the end is how that would tie to that emotional intelligence.
If I could ask a really quick question.
Sure.
One thing I've seen in professional athletes is when they
Yes.
have personal problems with their family, they don't
Mhm.
perform well.
This is true.
So
Because
what would you say to them? How would you reach them?
Okay, that's a great question, because they are on autopilot. So again, it's that subconscious brain running the show. So what I teach my students is, when we're in a situation like that, I'm having problems with my family, and now I have to go and present, or I have to go perform on the field for football players or whatever. If they can bring themselves into state, so the quickest way to do that, number one, is the breath work. It's 90 seconds of deep breaths in, holding it, and then releasing longer than your breath in, and preferably is to ground yourself. So feel your feet on the floor, um, and just take a moment and, like, you can put your hands on your clothing, on the desk, whatever it is, but feel a texture. When you actually engage with texture in the external world, your brain brings it into present and it begins closing those tabs already for you. So if you're breathing and doing that, all of a sudden your brain now focuses on that feeling externally versus the feeling internally. So it's again rewiring that pattern and regulating your nervous system and realizing that we're safe. So a lot of I'm just recently learned that anxiety is not even real. Anxiety is fear. It's a fear loop. So what causes anxiety is we become afraid of things because we're creating these stories in our head. And then that leads to more fear and more fear and more fear until you're like overwhelmed and your body's just like, oh, I'm crawling beneath my skin. But when you take the time to become aware of that, regulate, do the breath work, bring yourself into state, the anxiety can go away. And again, that visualization is huge. So I would say to them, do the breath work, ground yourself, and then close your eyes, do the visualization work of the direct opposite. Oh, everything's going great with my family, all these things, and then do the arrow release work, and then they can go onto the field.
So on the screen that you have right now, they don't even get into the awareness, and they can't get beyond the awareness because the awareness just isn't there.
That's exactly right.
And that's when the
Because-
subconscious just takes over.
Yes. Yep.
Che, are you ready to go with your question?
Yes,
Still got a
Doctor,
couple-
good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon to everyone. Thank you for the elaborate presentation. I'm so overwhelmed with it. Yeah, I have a series of questions, but later, due to time constraint, let me begin with the very first one. What tools or frameworks can be used to assess and develop mindful self-leadership in individuals and organizations? That's the first question.
What frameworks we can use for self-leadership for ourselves and then for the organization? Was that your question?
Yes. Yes, Doctor.
Mhm. Absolutely. So again, let me go back to, where was it, the other slide? The grounded decisions. So this is your framework that everything is based on here. To begin that self-leadership is to begin awareness and noticing things, how you're feeling in your body. If you can identify where you're feeling that anxiety,
Okay.
whether it's in your shoulders or your stomach, again, do that breath work, bring that regulation first, try to release that. And then your brain begins to, and then you visualize the opposite of what you're stressed about. Your brain begins to realize that, okay, I am not in any danger. Okay, because your brain instantly, as soon as you feel stress or anxiety, your brain thinks it's in danger. It's like, oh my gosh, all the flags go up, and then you begin to react.
Okay.
So you start again. Is your nervous system safe? How are you feeling your body? What is happening in your brain? Am I flooded or am I thinking with clarity? So if you're not thinking with clarity, then you do that breath work, change your posture, especially if you're sitting down, like sit up straight, but standing is even better because it helps everything flow through your system more. You get more oxygen to your brain when you stand up because it allows, nothing's breaking you in half here. So you can have more oxygen going to your brain. And then you ask yourself, what story am I telling? Is this true? And a lot of times we're like, is this true? Yes. But is it true 100% of the time without ever wavering? And then you begin looking for proof that it's not true. So if I'm stressed about doing a class like this, is, oh my gosh, I'm so stressed, it's going to be so bad. Is that true? No. And then I begin looking for proof that it's not true. So I've done a million presentations. I've presented in front of hundreds of people at one time. And I was very successful. And that's what's true. So then I start to shift my belief. And then I can behave accordingly from that angle. So body, brain, belief, behavior.
Okay, thank you very much. The second question, what are the common challenges leaders face in developing emotional resilience and mindful self-leadership?
The common challenges that leaders are facing with this is not everybody is aware. Not everybody is aware that this is what's happening. So when they walk in, so say the leader is aware of going into the room to lead or leading a team of people, and they're aware of themselves, and they're able to change that posture, change that way of thinking, and come in with a presence versus coming in stress. They're already starting that leadership. They're already sending out that message, and then people will begin to mirror that. But we can't control everybody around us as far as, are they aware? Do they really know what's happening in their brains? And the majority of the population does not. So my recommendation to a leader would be have a training on it, have them give the strategies and the tools that their staff can use to regulate themselves.
Okay, thank you. And how can organizations support leaders in cultivating these qualities?
How can leaders and organizations, I'm sorry, what was the last part?
How can organizations support leaders in cultivating these qualities?
Yes. How can organizations support leaders in creating these qualities? And again, this goes back to, that training, or, you know, coming in with that presence. So an organization, when they're hiring leaders, they should be looking for these qualities already. A lot of times we look at just resumes, but we don't pay attention to that presence. How are they under pressure? How do they react? Are they able to regulate themselves and control themselves? Because that's what's going to be making a good leader. So it starts with leadership choice of who they're bringing on board. But if they want to start, from the point where they already have their leaders, I would highly recommend, again, doing some type of training, sending out these tools to their staff. And it can be done in a way that's not, what some people deem as woo-woo. Let's all do breath work together. So it's, coming at it in a different way. And that's actually currently what I'm doing with teachers, is I'm coming about it in a different way where it doesn't come across as this is woo-woo work.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.